everyone, welcome to PRASAD'S Coaching Center for Banking, SSC and CGL, Bangalore. So this is vocabulary session. Our target for 1000 words in just 50 days. So we have already completed 20 classes. I mean, we almost completed 400 words in our previous session. So in this particular session, we are going to discuss the words associated with something like weak and strong. So we are discussing the words associated with something like weak and strong in this session. So let's move on to the first word now. What is the meaning of the word emaciated? And if you just observe the meaning, what we have here, very thin and weak because of illness or hunger. And if you just observe the picture, what we have here, the girl looks so skinny, right? So once we see this particular picture, we identify this. This might be because of any illness, or this might be because of any hungerness, right? So this is the meaning of the word and usage, how to use this particular word in the sentence. Emaciated bony hands. One more example, she was so emaciated, she could hardly stand. There were pictures of emaciated children on magazine. And now, how to remember the meaning of this word? So I'm just splitting like this. Hima, see, it. So Ima is there. So this is the name of the girl I'm just considering, Hima. And C is there. I'm just taking it as a she. And Yet is there. It is it. Hima, she, it. So I'm just making a statement out of it to remember the meaning of this word. Hima, she ate too much, but still she looks very skinny. She look very ill. She look very weak. So this is how I am going to remember the meaning of this word. Let's move on to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word enfeebled? And if you just observe the picture, what we have here, the first picture, this particular person sat on this chair for a long time. That made him weak. And if you just observe the second picture, age made him weak. And the third picture, this was in news actually, enfeebled Congress party. Means something made this party weak. So the meaning here is to make someone or to make something very weak. And how to remember the meaning of this word? So feed is there. So it sounds like a feed for me. Feed, it sounds like a feed. So N is there. So this is talking something about negative, which means not. So not feeding someone, you're not feeding someone properly and hence making them weak. So this is how I'm going to remember the meaning of this word. Example, the president had never before appeared so enfeebled. One more example, my grandfather is enfeebled. One more example, trade unions are in enfeebled state. Let's move towards the next point now. What is the meaning of the word recuperate? And the meaning here is to become stronger and to become better again after an illness or again after an injury. And if you just observe the picture, what we have here, this picture or this person, he was on wheel and he was mentally weak, but he is again back with the strong and the better person. So this is the meaning of the word and how to remember the meaning of this word. So last part sounds like a operate for me. Recuperate is there. Parate, it sounds like a operate for me. So after operation, patient recovers. So this is how I am going to remember the meaning of this word. Example, recuperate one's losses. The company managed to recuperate. The patient is recuperating. Let's move on to the next slide now. What is the meaning of the word cadaverous? And the meaning here is someone who looks pale, thin and ill, especially hinting to death. And if you just observe what we have here, it is something like very, very closely related to emaciated. So emaciated and cadaverous is the same in the meaning, but cadaverous is something extreme which is hinting to death. So this point you have to remember with this particular word, especially hinting to death. And this picture also shows you this person looks like it's like hinting to death, right? And how to remember the meaning of this word. Cadaverous, it remembers the word cadaver for me. Cadaver, which means dead body. So it's talking something about thin, which is hinting to death. Remember the word cadaver, which means dead body. And example, cadaverous features. He was lean and cadaverous. Her eyes look cadaverous. Let's move towards the next slide now. What is the meaning of the word lanky? So if you just just observe the pictures what we have here, all these three particular pictures shows who is very tall, lacking grace, right? So the meaning here is also same. Person who is ungracefully tall and thin. So who is ungracefully tall and who is ungracefully thin, we can call them as a lanky. And how to remember the meaning of this word? Sounds like a lock key for me. Lanky sounds like a lock key for me. So key of a lock looks very thin and tall, right? So this is how I am going to remember the meaning of this word. Example, lanky kid, lanky teenager. He is tall and lanky, but he is not athlete. So this is how we have to use the words in the sentence. Let's move towards the next word. Now, what is the meaning of the word fragile? And if you just observe the picture what we have here, this is talking something about to handle with care, right? So fragile means handle with care. So here also fragile is there, here also fragile is there. So one thing you have to remember from now, if you see this particular word anywhere, that is the fragile, means you have to handle with care because it is easily broken. And the meaning here is something which is easily broken or something which is easily damaged or threatened. And how to remember the meaning of this word? So fragile is there. So it's something like fra. I'm just splitting like this. Fragile. So this looks like a fracture for me. I'm just writing here fracture plus aged. So FRA is there and I'm just taking fracture, and AG is there. I'm just taking it as a aged. So I'm just making a statement out of it to remember. Fracture, like getting fracture is easy for the aged people. So this is how I'm going to remember the meaning of this word. And example, fragile plates, fragile bone, fragile craft, fragile plot, fragile glass, fragile egg, fragile system. So this is how we have to use the word in the sentence. Let's move on to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word flimsy? And the meaning here is object, cloth or document which is made up of thin substances and easily damaged. And if you just observe the picture what we have here, this plate, it looks like this is not the strong one. That's why the food is slipping out of the plate, right? And the mobile pouch also, and the slipper here in the third picture. So this is talking something about which is made up of thin substances and hence it is easily damaged. How to remember the meaning of this word? So flimsy is there, so I'm just taking it as a film. So think of an actor, I'm just taking it as a film. I'm taking it as a film. And think of an actor Dhanush, he looks very thin in the movies, right? So this is how I am going to remember the meaning of this word. Example, flimsy table, flimsy construction, flimsy wooden hut, flimsy dress, flimsy building. Let's move towards the next point. And the meaning here is ill and weak, especially for a long periods and often because of old age. So this point you have to remember. So this is often because of old age. And if you just observe the picture what we have here, this shows the ill and weak because of old age is shown in this particular two pictures. So how to remember the meaning of this word? So in is there, which is a prefix which denotes not, and firm is there. So not firm means which is very weak, which is very ill. So this is how we have to remember the meaning of this word. Example, she was too infirm to remain at home. Infirm old woman, infirm husband. Let's move on to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word brittle? So something which is hard and easily broken. And if you just observe the picture what we have here, so here we have cookies in the picture. Usually it will be very hard to look, but it is easily broken, right? So this is the meaning of the word. And example, brittle bones, brittle glass, brittle women, brittle eyes. So how to remember the meaning of this word? Brittle, it sounds like a brick for me. Brick. I think everybody knows this, right? So this is hard to look, but it is easily broken. It's not that hard to break, right? So this is how we have to remember the meaning of this word. Let's move on to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word debility? And if you just observe the picture what we have here, she looks so ill and she looks like corona patient and she is weak after that. So the meaning here is physically weak, especially as the result of illness. Example, the miserable kind of creeping debility would get worse. One more example, this man was awarded 20% for debility. And one more example, she looks debility after suffering from coronavirus. Let's move on to the next word now. Also before that, how to remember the meaning of this word. Debility is that D is a prefix which denotes not, and able is their ability. It is talking something about ability. So not able. It sounds like something not physically able, right? So this is how we have to remember the meaning of this word. Let's move to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word incapacitate? And if you just observe the picture what we have in this particular slide, incapacitate, which means the man fell and incapacitated his leg. So the meaning here is to make someone or something unable to live or work normally. He fell and that made his leg incapacitated. So the meaning, I think you people are getting, like to make someone or to make something unable to live or work normally. Example, he was incapacitated by a heart attack. The accident incapacitated me for few months. Rifle fire jet incapacitated our enemies. So this is how we have to use and how to remember the meaning of this word. As I always say, in is a prefix which denotes not, and capacity is there, capacitate. So I'm just taking it as capacity. So I'm just considering it like this, making someone incapable. So I made a statement to remember the meaning of this word. So let's move on to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word robust? And if you just observe the picture what we have here, he looks something very strong and healthy, right? So the meaning here is a person, animal or plant. If you say robust, that means they are very strong and healthy. Or if you're just talking something about a food or drink, that if you consider food or drink as a robust, which means it is very rich in flavor. So this is the meaning of the word. And how to remember the meaning of this word? It sounds like a robot for me. So it will be usually very strong and powerful, right? And example, robust tail, robust faith, robust flavor, robust body, robust economy. Let's move to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word vigorous? And if you just observe the picture what we have here, we have two types of businessmen over here. The one which is towards your left, he looks like a weak businessman, and the one you can observe in the picture which is towards your right, he looks very strong and full of energy, right? So he is called as a vigorous actually. So the meaning here is full of energy and something carried out forcefully. Example, vigorous exercises, vigorous youth, vigorous muscular man, vigorous denial. And how to remember the meaning of this word? Vigorous is there. It sounds like a rigorous for me. What is the meaning of the word rigorous? It means something of careful and consciousness. He does the work energetically. So this is the meaning of the word, and I made a statement to remember the meaning of this word. Let's move to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word SINEWY? And if you just observe the meaning here, animal or person who is strong with muscles and a little fat. And if you just observe the picture what we have here, he looks so strong with these particular muscles, right? So he looks so energetic with this muscles. So this is talking something about a strong with muscles and fat. How to remember the meaning of this word? So it sounds like a sunny for me. So Sunny is my friend and he is very strong with good muscles and little fat. So this I made a statement to remember the meaning of this word. Example, the fighter had a strong and sinewy body. Sinewy boxer, sinewy athlete, sinewy actor. Let's move towards the next slide now. What is the meaning of the word BRAWNY? And the meaning here is tall and strong man with big muscles. As the previous one we talked about, the word was sinewy, which was talking something about the strong muscles, right? But here it is the same, but tall and strong with the big muscles. We are also talking something about the tall and a strong man. And if you just observe the picture, what we have here, we have Big Shaw here. Look at this man. He is very tall and he is very strong with the good muscles, right? He can actually, we can actually call him as Brownie. And how to remember the meaning of this word? My dog name is Brownie. So my dog name is Brownie. So it is very tall, and this is my dog is very tall and my dog is very strong with good muscles. So I'm just considering my dog name is Brownie, and this is something talking about the tall and the strong. So this is how we have to remember the meaning of this word. Example, Brownie young man, Brownie salesman, Brownie arm, Brownie dog, Brownie food. Let's move on to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word stalwart? And if you just observe the picture what we have here, she is Jayalalitha, who served Tamil Nadu as a CM from 1991 to 2016. Actually, she is the name for the loyal, and she was trusted by many people, and she is called as a stalwart in Tamil Nadu state. So the meaning here is loyal, especially for a long time, and able to be trusted. So this is the meaning of the word, and how to remember the meaning of this word. So stalwart is there. It sounds like a star war for me. Star war. So anybody can stall the war because he is a stalwart. So this is the statement I made to remember the meaning of this word. Star war. So anybody can stall the war because he is a stalwart. Because he is a stalwart means he is loyal. He is loyal for a long time and able to be trusted. Let's move on to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word sturdy? And if you just observe the picture what we have here, these two look so strong and so solid and very thick, which is never possible to break, right? So the meaning here is also same. Physically strong and solid and thick, and therefore unlikely to break or unlikely to be hurt. So how to remember the meaning of this word? Sturdy is there, so it sounds like a steady for me. Steady, which is firm and strong, right? So example, sturdy table, sturdy little leg, sturdy walking boots, sturdy defense. This is how we can use the word in the sentence. Let's move on to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word staunch? And we have a particular picture here. We usually say dogs are very loyal to human beings, right? So they will be very loyal and they will be very support to us, and they will be with us in every situations, right? So this is the meaning of the word. Always loyal in supporting a person or in supporting an organization or belief or opinion. And how to remember the meaning of this word. So staunch is there. If we just take a stan out of this, it sounds like a stone for me. So stone is very strong, right? So someone who is strong in supporting something. Example, staunch defender, staunch friend, staunch supporter, staunch flood. So this is how we can use the word in the sentences. Let's move on to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word indestructible? And the meaning here is something that is impossible to destroy or impossible to break. And if you just observe the picture what we have here, the first picture here we have indestructible shoes reviews, which means it is very strong and impossible to break. And the second picture what we have here we can see the old Nokia phone, which is very strong and it is impossible to break, right? So how to remember the meaning of this word? So in is there, so it is talking something about prefix. It's something like not. So destructible is there. I'm just taking destruct plus able. Destruct plus able is there. So not is there. Not destructible. So I just made a statement like something that cannot be easily destroyed. So this is how we can remember the meaning of this word. Example, how to use the word in the sentence. Material is indestructible. One more example, human spirit can be indestructible. Plastic cups are virtually indestructible. Let's move to the next word now. What is the meaning of the word impenetrable? And if you just observe the picture what we have here, this is called as impenetrable forest, through which one cannot pass through. And if you just observe the picture what we have here, this is called as an impenetrable prison through which one cannot pass through. The meaning here is something that is impossible to understand or impossible to pass through or enter. And how to remember the meaning of this word? Im, which means not, E-N-E-T is there, so I'm just taking it as enter, and able. So I'm just taking it as not enterable. So this is talking something about that cannot be entered, means that is very strong. Example, impenetrable jargon, impenetrable gloom, impenetrable forest, impenetrable barrier, impenetrable forest. We can just take the example from this particular picture. Impenetrable prison we can just take from this particular picture. So we are done with our today's session. In this particular session we discussed the word something associated with very weak and something like a strong. So in my next class I will come up with a new sets of words. If you are liking the session, please like and share with your friends and subscribe to our YouTube and Telegram channel. Thank you and have a good day.